Hello, my name's Mollie Poorman, and I am a parishioner at St. Gerard since I was a child, and I'm also a clinical psychologist. I work in a private practice and see people of all ages, but I'm here today to talk to you as a member of the St. Gerard Health and Wellness Committee. Our committee tries to do some kind of health awareness activity once a month, and since people have been at home and unable to go out to activities, we thought we would bring some insight and activities to you at home. Today, I'm going to be talking about strategies to safeguard your emotional health while staying at home to protect your physical health. The COVID-19 crisis is affecting all of us. We are trying to navigate a global pandemic when we don't know what's happening day to day. Every day we face new issues, and we have no ability to predict tomorrow, let alone the future. In this time, we need to show ourselves and others compassion. We need to have realistic expectations of ourselves. Most people are taking on new roles, whether you're a homeschool teacher now, or a caregiver, or a pandemic coordinator, or even feel like you're an infectious disease specialist. We are all doing different things than we're used to doing in our regular lives, and that adds a lot of stress. And it adds things we need to juggle now in addition to the usual things that life entails. And we need to recognize that we are doing this and so are other people. And everyone handles this stress different. So as we see people doing things that we don't understand, or we even find ourselves doing things we don't understand, we need to remember that this is a new situation for all of us and to show a little compassion to ourselves. And we need to recognize that everyone handles stress and crisis different, but we can be pretty confident that everyone is stressed by this and overwhelmed. So in this time, we need to increase our self-care. We need to do things to take care of ourselves and others. In order to be successful at coping with the stress, we need to do things to face the challenges with new energy and extra support. We need to take care of ourselves first if we try to take care of others. That's often difficult for people, and it seems obvious, but people try to put others first. But when you're dealing with as much stress as going on in this current crisis, you need to take care of yourself before you take care of others. And I always think of the example of on a plane, and that if you're flying, the flight attendant stands up in the aisle and says, if the oxygen comes down, please take care of your own oxygen mask and then assist others around you. And the first time I flew with my oldest son, I thought, well, gosh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take care of him first. That's the kind of mom I am. And he was only 8 weeks old. And fortunately, we never had to test this situation. But later I realized how foolish that was, that if on the plane I'm fiddling with his oxygen, he's in the car seat, I can't get it quite around him. In the meantime, I pass out because I don't have enough oxygen, and then he dies too. I need to take care of myself so that then I can assist anyone around me that needs help. And as you're going through this crisis, try to keep that in mind, ways that you can take care of yourself in order to take care of others. And one of the things that's really important for that is to try to achieve balance, whether it's balance in your work ethic, balance in your exposure to news and social media, or balance in your time with others. You need to be thoughtful and be aware of your own personal needs, because everyone has different abilities to cope with these different situations and different things that help them. For example, when you how much you want to spend time focusing on this crisis. Some people think it's helpful to talk about it all the time. And other people find that when they go throughout their daily lives, they try not to think about it. And most people are somewhere in the middle. So for you, you need to get a balance that's going to work for you and for your family. And it may change. Initially, you might have wanted to know more information. In the end, you feel like you need to go about your daily life and it gets in your way. But to try and achieve a balance with that. It's also really important to achieve a balance with productivity. How much do you want to accomplish in a day? And how much time do you want to spend relaxing? If you're taking care of yourself and working on self-care, you're going to need to spend time to relax, or else you're going to get worn out. When this started, we had no idea it was going to be going on this long. So it seemed like, okay, we'll do these things and then it'll be over. And we're recognizing that the end is not here when we want it to be. So you need to strike a balance for you with how much you do work and how much you relax. And that may vary by different people's situations during this crisis. Some people are out of work and they find themselves having so much more relaxed time, but they still need to figure out when they're doing productive things and when they're relaxing. Where other people may find themselves working on the front lines or doing extra work because of the things the crisis has caused in their lives and people that they work with. So recognizing that balance, and sometimes it might mean taking more breaks while you're working or doing things like that to help get you breaks during the day as you balance that need for working and relaxing. Another thing people need to balance is how much news exposure they have and what ways they get informed that work for them. Some people like to watch the news, other people like to read the news, but you need to balance the difference between the importance of being informed with how much the overexposure can do and what that does to your mental health. For example, for me, I had discovered that the more that I read, the more upset I got. And I discovered that I can't read stories about individual people and how they're suffering because I get too upset and then I can't really focus on what I need to be doing. So I find for me, I read the headlines and make sure I know what the major things are going on. And I also read scientific articles about progress being made because that makes me feel hopeful. But I talk to other people who have very different strategies, and you need to find out for you which works for you and for your family, and be sensitive that other people may have different approaches to that and not want to talk about all the different things you learn. Another thing that's really important to have balance on is exposure to social media. Some people find social media helps them feel connected and a part of things, and other people find that they get fixated on it and they need to know everything that's happening and don't have time to do other things in the day. So this is a time to really get some balance with that. I'm not a very good person to talk about this because I'm not really on social media, but I do know a lot of people it adds benefit to their life. For me, I find I can't unsee things that I find on social media, so I just do better to not look at all. But a lot of people find it helps them feel connected to friends. And in a time when people are more isolated, that can be even more important. So recognizing on times you're looking at it more, does that help you feel better or worse? Or does it cross a line at some point and then start to make you feel worse, and trying to get a balance for that. Another thing people need to balance is how much time they spend with others. Everyone has a different tolerance for this. So people that are very social may find being at home as not having enough contact with other people, and so they're really seeking out contact. Where other people that enjoy more alone time may find they're trapped in the house with all their relatives all the time and they can't get away from them. And when those things exist in the same household, it causes some conflict. So being aware that different people have different tolerances for that, and trying to get a balance that works for you and for the other people in your home. It also is different depending on what age group you're in. Teenagers tend to want to connect on social media. Some people have a hard time relaxing. Others find they want to have the news all the time. And trying to get that a balance and make adjustments if it's not working for you is very important in adjusting to the coronavirus. Another thing that I recommend with the people that I work with is the importance of establishing a routine. And when I say a routine, I don't mean a schedule. I don't mean like your work meetings and you have something from 9 to 10 and then you book your day out. I mean a routine of things that you want to do. This is a way to ensure that you do the extra things you need to do for self-care. It's a way to ensure that you're getting that balance that you talk about doing. It's a way to be sure that you can make adjustments when things aren't working, so you know what to go back and look at and what things might be helpful. So it's important if we're going to do a routine. I don't have any advice on the exact things that your routine should have as opposed to my routine. My routine has really kind of settled into I work and then I do some things around the house. And if I'm lucky, my youngest son will play cards with me in between tasks. So it's a way to do a little something and then he shuffles while I go do something. And then we work on dinner and so on. But that's something that I found works for me, but everyone's going to have a different routine. And what I encourage people to do is have certain elements in their routine and then put it in where it works for you. And that routine is going to look different for everyone. The first thing that I tell people to do is include these 8 different things in your routine. They don't have to be in your routine every day, but you should try to do some most days. And you should do things to make sure you have time and make time for the different elements of a healthy routine. The first thing that I talk about in a healthy routine is get regular sleep. And that means for most people 7 to 8 hours. And one of the things you notice is people's schedule is a little more flexible, and when they don't have to go to work at the same time or they can work from home, that their schedule tends to creep in a direction of staying up later. Young people don't have as many things going on. As that happens, people's schedule changes. And what we know from research is that people that stay up and do things beyond midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, those are not very productive times. Even if you still get 8 hours of sleep, but it starts then, it gets your circadian rhythm off, and you're not able to function as well, and you're not able to then cope with the crises, because if any area of our function suffers, then it affects everything. So really being conscious about the type of sleep you're getting and when you're getting sleep so that you stay on top of that. Another piece that's really important is making sure you're eating healthy. And one of the things our health and wellness group is doing is we are having Abby Ritchie do a talk on eating to boost your immune system. And you can find information about that talk on the church website where you found information about my talk. Another important thing when you're at home and you're trying to have a healthy routine is to exercise regularly. And my recommendation for that is to exercise outside if possible at all. This is one of the best things that you can do for your mental health. I'm a therapist. I do therapy. I believe in therapy. I think it can really make a difference. But I tell people all the time, the best thing you can do for your mental health is to exercise. Exercise is also very good for your physical health, and if you're trying to lose weight, it can help with that. But those things take time and a lot of dedication. The good thing about exercising for your mental health is that it takes effect the second you get outside. You can feel the benefits of it. So it is one way, as you're trying to take care of your physical health, you can also take care of your mental health. And exercise doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be torture. It can be going for a walk or doing yoga or riding a bike, doing yard work. It can be any kind of thing that you do. I do usually recommend to people, though, if you're starting an exercise program, that using a treadmill or an elliptical is often a very hard way to begin. Those things are fabulous for maintaining a routine and for doing things if the weather is not good, but they make it very difficult to start because there's not a lot of reward and distraction. So if you can, start by trying to get outside. And fortunately in Michigan, the weather is getting a little bit better, and that should help make that easier. Another element of a healthy routine is using your brain. So if you're working, still, you get lots of opportunities to do that. If you have kids at home and you're helping homeschool, you get all kinds of opportunities to use your brain in ways you haven't used it in a while and didn't think you were going to ever again. But if you're not doing those kinds of things, making efforts to do crosswords or read, that making your brain active every day is really important for your overall routine. Another thing that's really important is make time to have fun. You need to plan for this, and you need to even do it when it doesn't seem like it's going to be fun. This is a hard time for people, and a lot of times it doesn't seem like, oh, we should do that, and a lot of times people will skip things, or the fun things they want to be doing aren't available to them anymore, so they will just say, oh, well, we're not going to do anything at all. And it's really important that families and people make having fun a priority, and that you plan for that in your day and that you commit to it, even if it doesn't seem like we really want to do that. So whether you refocus on hobbies and come up with things that you can do that you haven't done in a while, or you get on a Zoom call with family members. My family has started doing the Family Olympics, where we play a game each day, where we compete at something like bocce or something like that, and it's an exercise in humility for me as I try to compete against my 20-something kids, but it has us laughing, and we try to commit to that each day to do something like that together. But people can play games or watch movies, but that you commit that you're making time for that, and remember that it's not going to always seem exciting, but you still need to do that. Another thing that's really good to have in your daily routine is working on accomplishing a goal each day, something that you can see that you got done, something that you can feel good about, something that maybe gives you a sense of control, something that helps you feel not so helpless, and it can be small things. If you need to work on cleaning your house, that you do one room each day, or that you do one thing on your to-do list each day, or you make one phone call or follow up on one of those things, that you do one job in the yard, that you set some goals on something that you can do, not major projects like you're going to paint your house, but what one area are you going to work on so that you feel like you accomplished something each day. Another thing to do is really to work on doing something nice for someone. There's a lot of research in psychology that shows that two of the best things you can do for your mental health are exercise and do something nice for someone else. And as we have this unusual situation and a lot of people that we know are in need, there are many opportunities to volunteer to help other people. You can reach out to someone who's alone. You can send a card. You can, drop off a meal to someone that lives by themselves. You can mow your neighbor's yard. You can just say thank you when you're at the grocery store and you see the people working and you think that they're putting their lives at risk to have food available for us. You can thank them for the work that they do. And that's, at least they know they're being appreciated. But as you focus on in your day, what things are you doing to make time to be nice to someone else? And the last element that should be a part of all of our days all the time, and is not the last thing on the list, but the thing that I thought was important to end with, is we need to make time for prayer. We need to make time to talk to God. Not just about the things and the people we want him to look over, and not just about keeping our family safe, although those are very important prayers. There are also things to look at what we're thankful for and what things that we have that we see as a blessing and the silver linings that we can find. For me, I have both my boys home, and I never thought that was going to happen again. So I try to appreciate, despite all the things that are happening and the problems, that's one good thing, and I try to be thankful to God for that. It is also a time for us to feel like there's hope. When we pray and we believe in God, we share a hope that there are better things to come and that we are never alone. And that kind of hope is often needed during this time of crisis and stress. So that's one area that is particularly good to end or begin or both your day with in prayer for your family and in Thanksgiving for the things that we do have. One of the last things to do is to really celebrate your successes, to evaluate how you're doing with your routine, and to know that you can make adjustments if things aren't going well, and what things helped you feel better and what things didn't, or what things have you forgotten over a few days that you may have been lax about. But when things do go well, or parts of your day feel successful, to make sure you celebrate that. Be proud when you stick to your routine. Be proud when you accomplish a goal. Feel good when you have a good day. And when you don't have such a good day, know you can try again tomorrow. That wasting energy and time on feeling bad about ourselves or thinking we're not doing everything we can, those things really bring us down, and we don't have any extra resources for that right now. So if you try and work on a routine and some days it doesn't go well, there's always tomorrow that you can try again. And to kind of keep in mind that this is really more of a marathon than a sprint. This is something that people need to work on over and over and over again, because we don't know when this crisis is going to end, and we don't know how long we're going to be coping with additional stressors. So maintaining a routine that really helps us be healthy helps us fight the virus and keep ourselves safe. So that gives you some things to try at home and to see what happens. And I really encourage you to look at what areas of your lives need a little bit more work, or that you could focus on that might help make differences for you and for your family. One of the things I do want to make people aware of is that if changing some of the things in your routine and focusing on some of the things that you can do doesn't make a difference or doesn't help your functioning, that you need to ask for help. Whether it means talking to a friend or a family member or your pastor, or reaching out to a therapist or a doctor, if things are not getting better, then you need to get some help. You need to monitor your mood and anxiety. Many people are struggling in this time. Many people are starting to show symptoms of sadness and feelings of being emotional all the time, irritability, loss of interest in activities, things don't seem fun anymore, lack of energy, and a hopelessness. And there's a constant discussion of death when we're counting death tolls, and those things really can be a problem. Other people tend to be worrying all the time and having problems concentrating. They'll notice heart palpitations and having trouble stopping negative thinking. If these things are happening all the time and often, that can be a sign of a bigger problem, and it might mean you need to get some help. So if you're seeing some of those things, that may be something you need to reach out for help and get that help that you need. And if you're interested in the future, I could do talks again about ways to cope with anxiety and depression in the time of COVID-19. But in the meantime, I hope everyone and their families stay healthy and safe. God bless. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.